Okay, it's Edwardsville bond referendum time. So the Edwardsville School District is asking for $100 million. And should they get it? I guess it's up to the voters, but I just wanted to give you guys some facts.
Now, a funny thing is, I live in Collinsville School District, and no, I did not plan to wear a purple shirt on purpose. I went to Edwardsville High School. I love Edwardsville. I have property there. My family has property. And I got in the mail an Edwardsville Community Unit District 7 schools mailer talking about the bond proposal that you'll be voting on April 4th. You can see here, they're pointing out to you zero tax rate change. When I see zero tax rate change, I'm thinking they're refinancing debt. Now, this mailer talks about everything they're going to do for our kids. They're going to build and renovate infrastructure. They're going to do all this stuff. But if you look down here, they're going to retire previous bond debt. Now, why would they have to do that? Well, clearly because they made a giant mistake. What's interesting is back in 2007, the school district issued $36 million in bonds that they would eventually pay $85 million. Now, how is that possible? It's possible because they issued a capital appreciation bond. And a capital appreciation bond, all the payments, the interest, the principal, is all paid at the very end when the bond matures. So up until that point, no payments are made. It's all owed at the end. And so those 2007 bonds have now come due, they're mature, and the district has to pay them. You can see the schedule here, and it's a lot of money. You can see the principal is about $63 million, but there's this $55.5 million of interest. And it is only being recognized now when it's due. That's what that discount on capital appreciation bonds says. And that is a concept very few people understand. But what it says is as it becomes due, the interest is recognized. And so in the next 8 years, the district has, I don't know, what's that, $118 million that it needs to pay. So they have a big debt bomb here. And this was all set up from a decision in 2007 to issue bonds where you make no payments. By the way, everything I'm going to show you is from the district's own financials that they have to report publicly, not only because of state law, but because of bond covenants. And you can get all this at a site called emma.org, which is a public site that puts up information for municipal bonds. But you can look at this document here and you can see, well, there's that $63 million amount for 2022. Not too bad, $63 million in debt. But do you see the interest there? No, you do not, because this does not include the interest on those capital appreciation bonds. Do you remember the Wendy's commercial back in the 1980s? And yes, I'm that old. Where's the beef? Well, you can see the debt service table and the capital appreciation or bond schedule we saw earlier match as far as principal, but you don't see any interest. It's because it hasn't been recognized yet, but it's due. It's very due. So there's $55 million out there that's going to be paid in the next 8 years. Let's compare the money due to the district's legal debt limit. And you can see here, they're reporting in 2022 that there's $63 million out there. Well, that's not entirely the case. Okay, let's look at another page in the financial report, and we're going to look at long-term liabilities. As you can see, it totals up to $106 million, but you look up there and there's an amortization on capital appreciation bond discount. You add that back, you're going to get back to your $117 million. So they do not make it easy for you to figure out what the district owes. But the district owes about $16 million. It does not owe $63 million. There's a bunch of interest coming due in the next 8 years. So the full disclosure is when you add back in the interest that is currently not on the books and not in this presentation on the debt limit, you're going to get to something like $117 million. And then you're going to add in this $100 million they're asking for. That's going to get you about $217. So the real presentation is this $100 million is going to put them up against their debt limit. Of course, that would be the case unless they refinance the capital appreciation bond debt due in the next 8 years. a refinancing of that debt would keep them below the tax rate, and that's probably why they're advertising that to you. So I would like to know, are we refinancing this capital appreciation debt? I think it's very important to know because we originally borrowed 36 million. 85 million is due, and if we're going to refinance that we're just now refinancing interest. That's essentially revolving debt. When is this debt on these two elementary schools going to be paid? Who knows? I think we deserve an answer. So here's another presentation where, if you can look at July 1st, 2021, they're saying they owed in long-term liabilities almost 114 million. And so you can see what we're talking about is the district has that kind of money it owes. It's not 63 million. So the real question is, now that they're asking for $100 million from the taxpayer, what are they going to do with that money? Clearly, we haven't made a payment on these capital appreciation bonds. They're now coming due and they're now mature. And as you can see, the interest is going to be paid, and it's a lot of money. When Ed Hightower and the district decided to build these schools, the elementary schools, and put out this debt, no one knew it was going to be a capital appreciation bond where no payments were made. And you can read up here, capital appreciation bonds with an issuance value of 36 million and a maturity value of 85 million. So issuance is the 36 we got, the 85 is what we're going to pay. There's $50 million of interest there. And so that debt is now coming due. No payments were made. I don't think that was a very smart decision. So it's my opinion that these capital appreciation bonds should be paid off. We should never do that again. We should never kick debt to another generation. And if we're going to borrow and the public agrees with that, then we need to do it in a responsible way. What I'm here to tell you is that's not going to happen. It looks like they're going to refinance all this old debt, all this old interest, and it's just going to get recycled. So instead of getting past this capital appreciation bond, we're just going to refinance it for the future. And of course, that is going to make some room for the district to spend money on other things. So yes, as a taxpayer, you need to really look at the fine print. They're going to tell you here all the great stuff they're going to do, but the truth is, this is the result of some very bad decisions going back to 2005, 6, and 7. And I was a part of a group that fought this and made the public statements that no payments were going to be made, and that this borrowing we did to build these schools was excessive and it wasn't smart. So you should know the facts, you should know where we're at, and you should decide. Hopefully this has been informative and can help you make a good choice on April 4th. Thank you.